USA Soccer is now making a statement at the World Cup in Qatar. So they're not boycotting the World Cup in Qatar because of Qatar's restrictive lifestyle laws with regard to LGBT and women and all the rest of this. No, they're going to go. They're going to play. But they are changing their logo. And that is deeply exciting stuff. According to the Daily Mail, the U.S. men's national team have made a huge statement at the World Cup in Qatar by redesigning their crest to incorporate the rainbow flag. You see, because this is what the USA stands for. The USA no longer stands for the red, white, and blue. It stands for the orange, slightly lighter orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, brown. That's what the USA stands for. It stands for the rainbow. The American flag has literally been replaced with the rainbow flag in the USA logo for the World Cup.
Man, Ben Shapiro, you got to pick a side, my boy. You have to pick a side. If you're going to call yourself a public intellectual, owning the libs and taking them down, you have to pick a side. Either a travesty is occurring where the red, white, and blue won't be on the flag at the World Cup with the U.S. men's national team, or this is a empty statement being made by U.S.'s Soccer Federation by tucking their flag that's in solidarity with LGBTQI folks, tucking it away in some spot, not being on a jersey. Like, you gotta pick a side. You can't poo-poo and say, oh, they virtue signaling and all of that stuff, and this is fake symbolism and all of that, and then act like on the front end that they're committing this heinous crime against patriotism and love of country. That's ridiculous.
And of course, this is going to make a huge difference to, I'm sure, all of the gay people who live in Qatar. The U.S., wow. By the way, the U.S. is not going to play with these on the field. The U.S. is just going to put this in their special designated sections over in the press area. So, slow clap for all of the virtue signaling from U.S. men's soccer.
And to be honest, I'll be the first to admit that I've grown very, very, very wary of the type of symbolic gestures and signaling that counts for support of marginalized groups, both here and abroad from the establishments wherever we go. I will be the first person to stand in solidarity with Ben Shapiro that, man, we need to put our money where our mouth is with these a lot of times empty gestures. However, again, to get back to Mr. Ben Shapiro, he's directing his ire at support for a marginalized group. What he won't dare do is talk about the working conditions of the people that built the infrastructure that's hosting the games, right? That is a legitimate outrage. That's something I think everybody would be able to get behind, but Ben Shapiro would have to stop being a knucklehead for hire, pull his head out of his ass for 2 seconds to even notice something like that.
Yes, so you can do it fast.
Ce soir miracle, l'air conditionné semble fonctionner.
You can see you are just sleeping next to AC. The wire is just near your bed. So if anything electric fault, it will shock you and everything. And the cooking utensils. You can see the bed, how everything is cramped up in the room. You can just see for yourself.
And, I want to admit my hypocrisy up front. I'm going to watch a lot of World Cup. It's one of my favorite sporting events. That doesn't mean this event doesn't raise a lot of moral and ethical questions when it comes to how we're basically laundering the image of the regimes in places like Qatar, in Russia, etc., that have China, that have held these global games, whether they be Olympics or the World Cup. Like, you might wonder, what's the point of participating in this kind of thing when they're laundering the images of some of the worst actors on the world stage? Like, we can have that conversation. You guys can watch the video and look at these horrible conditions that this borderline slave labor workforce had to work under in order to produce the infrastructures of these games. These are legitimate questions that we should be asking, and we should be asking, like, what's it worth to participate in these games for the trade-off? These are questions we'd all should be asking ourselves. With Ben Shapiro feigning outrage at the idea that U.S. soccer at the World Cup would stand in solidarity with an extremely marginalized group in a place like Qatar, stupid.